I'm Lo. Michael has given the intro very, very well. Started Outsource CFO with a couple of young CAs a few years ago. We were in varsity together. We started straight out of articles when we were 25 years old. And we've tried to build the organization that is OCFO today. Building world-class finance functions for growing companies with the concept that scaling up is quite complex. We try to simplify the numbers through CFO services, cloud accounting, and automation. And just a little bit about the journey. Michael has stolen the thunder of the next 3 slides. But the team is close to 80 professionals now. We've worked with quite a lot of companies around the world. We've had a very interesting growth journey. We've managed to grow more than 50% every year since inception, except for the COVID year. And we're currently doing about 75% year on year in terms of rolling. So we're doubling the organization every kind of 15 to 18 months. And it's quite fascinating at this stage now, like how to think about navigating all of that. So our ultimate journey, our big, hairy, audacious goal that we'll chat about a bit later, is all around, we want to reach 10,000 entrepreneurial companies, and we want to build a team with 1,000 finance professionals who can help serve those entrepreneurs. And we think, through that we'll reach more than 1 million people, and we feel that'll make a dent in our little universe that we're quite excited about. So this is just my experience share, the things that I've found really valuable in our growth journey, the things I've discovered, I've read, I've dug into, I've spoken to other entrepreneurs about. And this is really what's worked for us over the last while. Maybe you've got something completely different that works really well for you. Please don't take this as advice. This is really just my experience share on all of it. So growth frameworks, starting out with just a couple of key things that some of you may know. Who has heard of one of the books or authors on the screen? Most people. Has anyone read Scaling Up, like cover to cover? Brilliant. Okay, has anyone read Traction cover to cover? Jim Collins, anything from Jim Collins? Hey, okay, we've got a couple of readers. That's epic. So I'm just going to stand still on them for like a minute or two because they're worth really looking at. Scaling Up was written by a guy called Vern Harnish. He started an entrepreneur organization like more than 30 years ago and is one of the absolute authorities on building a growing company. And he identified 3 main barriers for scaling up that I thought is worthwhile to put into this talk. And I'm going to use his words. He says the first main barrier is leadership. The inability to employ or grow enough leaders in the business who have the capabilities to delegate and predict. Man, I think that's like, that language is beautiful. Scalable infrastructure, the lack of systems and structures to handle the complexities in communication and decision making that come with growth. And the third one is out-of-the-box marketing, the failure to scale up an effective marketing function capable of attracting not just new customers, but also talent, advisors, and other key relationships to the business. So these are the major 3 things that stand in the way of building an exponential organization. And then they have these beautiful 4 foundations called people, strategy, execution, and cash. So you can dive into and go through the tools. There are dozens and dozens of different tools and further reading and things that they recommend as part of this process. So if you have 10 years or so to spend on scaling companies, this would be the first thing I would absolutely recommend you do a deep dive on, take a note of, and take some pages from Vern's playbook, because he's done this for thousands of companies and it really works. The other one's also absolutely worth a visit. If you don't have 10 years, if you have 12 months, I'd say go for Traction. There's a guy called Gino Wickman who wrote the book Traction. It's a very simplified version of actually all of the other frameworks put into like 20 basic tools that you can use to scale an organization. Also super useful. Their process is called the Entrepreneurial Operating System. You guys may have heard many companies run on this. It's lean and it's efficient and it's really quite good. The E-Myth is all about you as an entrepreneur. If you are a specialist in the area that you're building your company in, let's say you're Felix and you're a specialist in digital marketing and SEO and websites and things. Now you have to, if you want to build WOW into a global organization, then you have to figure out how you become not the specialist in that, but how you hire and incorporate specialists to actually do that work, so you can figure out how to work on growing the company, to do the things that only the founder of the organization can do. And that's really kind of E-Myth. It's witty, it's clever, it's fun. It's a really good read. I think lots of us can relate to it. And Jim Collins is just the ultimate thought leader on strategy, on leadership, on creating core values. If you want to go to jimcollins.com and just spend a year on there. It's absolutely amazing. Everything's free. It's so good. So some of our favorite tools, most of them drawn from different of these frameworks that we've incorporated over the years that have worked super well for us, kind of in a format of what did we do first, second, third, fourth, fifth, more or less. And I think the first thing is to have a North Star, a strategic vision for the organization and a purpose statement that really that anyone who works with your company, whether it's a co-founder, a teammate, a client, that anyone can relate. So kind of like building the strategic vision and this purpose out for your business is a great place to start. And you've probably done that on day one. It's almost just getting it out of your head and onto paper and alive in the organization, that everyone knows about this and is bought into this. So what we've done is we just said, we are Outsource CFO. We impact society by helping entrepreneurs succeed. We leverage CFO, cloud accounting, and automation services to scale up entrepreneurial companies so that they can realize the impact of their vision. Successful entrepreneurs change the world. They create economic growth, employment, and social impact. We serve entrepreneurs. We are OCFO. And then on a team-facing side, we create meaningful work and exciting career paths for amazing finance professionals. So this is just kind of like how we've articulated that and then built it into a purpose statement of building world-class finance functions that help entrepreneurs succeed. This was just, I think, a great starting point ahead of them trying to build the core values on which the organization stands. So there's a lot, Jim Collins writes an incredible amount about core values. Who here has like core values established in their companies? If you put your hand up, I might ask you to name all of them. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have enough time. But I think, he writes, it matters that you have core values, that you preserve them over time, that you are passionately committed to them, and that you align your behaviors and your organizational practices and structures and strategies with those core values. That is just like, that just really lands for me. And maybe 7 years ago, I sat in front of a blank page and we were in a process of trying to first discover your core values. And if I think of the difference between not having it then to what it is in the organization today, it's absolutely foundational to how we hire people, how we promote, how we operate as an organization. And kind of like, I think what they recommend you just try to do is make sure it's discovered, articulated, known by everyone in the company. Make sure that you are giving praise and reprimands in accordance with that. Make sure that your people, processes, and activities align to those core values like hiring, orientation, appraisal, recognition, firing even, and make sure you have lots of core initiatives that actually bolster and double down on these core values. Because the more you can live and breathe this, and everybody, if you wake any employee in the company in the middle of the night, if they can tell you what the core values are, that's just, that'd be huge. So excellence in everything, integrity matters, switched on thinking, growth and success, and family first. Some of the things that we've developed, and each one of them then has a whole write-up on kind of like what does this mean for us as an organization. I'm not going to stand still on all of them for the sake of time. The next one is a big, hairy, audacious goal. Like, what is that 25-year organizational goal that you have? This is a great one to figure out if you have that massive, huge goal you're aiming for that sounds ridiculous now, you can break that down into what do we have to do the next 3 to 5 years to move us in that direction? What do we have to do this year or this quarter? And then you can actually make your decisions in accordance with that. And I shared this with you guys a little bit earlier. Quarterly breakaways, 90-day planning. This is something that's been super valuable for us over the years. Like asking your team, what should we stop, start, and keep doing as an organization? Figuring out, what your strengths, weaknesses, and trends are as a collective. Spending time with your leadership team. Getting out of the office and into a different environment where you can review values and process and all of the things that work well and don't work well. Super useful. Level 10 meetings. This is part of the traction framework. I've got if you want to take a photo of this is like 7-8 minute video of Gino's. It's amazing. This is how to do a weekly 90-minute leadership team meeting with your leadership team that absolutely changes the way you communicate with a weekly pulse that is super powerful. I'll give you guys 1 second on that. Good. And then if you don't know where to start, because this is like really a lot, like this can take years to digest. if you don't know where to start, the EOS system Traction has 20 questions, which is called their organizational checkup. It's online, it's free, gives you a very good indication where you should focus. It's quite light touch, so it's easy to work on. If you want to go more hardcore, if you're further down the road, the Rockefeller Habits, that's in scaling up, 40 key questions, very deep dive, very disheartening in the early days to look at because it's really, the bar is incredibly high with this, but it's such a great way to see where are we great, where are we average, where are we weak, where do we need to work. And then I think Next 9 is in the room, locally developed scale-up framework that Jason's team is going to speak about a little bit later. Seek out mentors, coaches that can guide you, someone that's done this already maybe, or simply ask your team, what should we stop, start, and keep doing when you work through things. And my last thing, I know I'm out of time this year, is just our cheat code has been entrepreneur organization. Like we've been a member for like 6 years with EOA and EO. If you meet the kind of the EO Accelerator revenue targets is $250,000, like 4 million-ish turnover. If you get there, join Accelerator immediately. Just do that because they teach all these scale-up methodologies and frameworks in a group peer format that's unbelievable. And EO is a power network of global entrepreneurs that of I think $17,000 million plus company founders that you can instantly connect to anywhere in the world, and it's really been a superpower for us the last while. And that is me. That's in a nutshell kind of what's worked for us, what hasn't worked for us, what I think everybody should have a look at. And I think time for questions maybe towards the end if I think of schedule. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.